I mean, I'm not going to sit here and crown the Jacksonville players as all knowing of how good NFL franchises conduct business, because they are a failure, miserable organization.
But I thought a telling sign that Urban Meyer is not a professional coach happened in the fourth quarter yesterday. His franchise quarterback, the franchise quarterback, was left in the game down 17 and then 20 points. And the Titans and Vrabel did exactly what you would expect. Shane Bowen did exactly what you would expect. They brought the house, and they lit him up. You're down, and you're conceding. You're not taking timeouts. You're not trying to save time. You're not trying to claw your way back into the game. And you left Trevor Lawrence in the game to take a beating. To me, if I'm the owner, that speaks volumes more than anything else, that you're in over your head and you don't know, have a pulse for what goes on at this time of year for a terrible team. Get him out of the game and save him. That's the franchise. You lucked your way in to getting the number one pick. Everyone knew Trevor Lawrence was the number one pick a year before he entered the NFL draft. And he's left into the game to get earholed. I don't understand that from Urban Meyer. No one's bringing that part up because we're all discussing what's going on behind the scenes. Why he left Trevor Lawrence in the game to take a beating is beyond me.
It's a good point. He's got this vacant look on the sideline. It seems that there seems to be some level of disassociation, and stuff like that is kind of commonplace. And if you don't think of it yourself, your right-hand man, tells you, or your quarterback coach says, "Hey, should we?"
There's 5 minutes left, and they're not taking. I mean, they're just letting time run, and they're clearly just trying to get out of there, but they're throwing the football. And you can watch the coaches on the sideline for the Titans. I would be doing this too. I mean, they're jumping up and down. Every time they got to stop or we got to hit on the quarterback, they're thrilled.
Yeah, and you also have to take into account, like at that stage of the game, Danico Autry's out, Simmons is out,
yes.
Evans is out, Brown is out, and these guys are on the sideline waving a towel. I asked Vrabel about this. What's it like when those guys are out of the game? And he said, they're excited because we've got guys in the game who've been working really hard, and they're cheering them on because everybody wants to see those guys make a play. So all those guys are trying to go get their first sack, their first hit,
right,
all of that stuff. So they're amped up, and to them it's the Super Bowl, right? To Trevor Lawrence, it's the last 5 minutes of his number loss that he needs to get out of alive. So you're exactly right. It's a terrible situation.
The handshake postgame also was just a tragedy.
Now, he and Vrabel chatted pregame.
Yeah, I saw the video of them
nicely chatting.
Talking pregame, but that was a weird drive-by, vacant look the entire time
eye
from
contact.
Urban Meyer, just sort of mindlessly wandering the field and barely shaking the hand of
this is a former
Mike Vrabel.
Employee. These aren't just two guys in the coaching fraternity. Vrabel worked for him at Ohio State.
I'm trying to figure out what Urban Meyer brings Jacksonville right now. I mean, he was already a laughingstock behind the scenes from his team due to the blonde dance and everything else that was going on for Thursday Night Football.
And before that, he got them fined and in trouble for overdoing it at OTAs.
Right.
Well, so
and now he's calling his coaching staff losers, which I mean, I don't know what coaches typically do behind the scenes in a team meeting, but Meyer needs to look in the mirror on this, because a lot of the trouble that they've gone through this year is looking back at him in the mirror. It's not at Darrell Bevel who's calling plays,
or at his receiver, a veteran receiver who's had not a lot of success, but more success than he's had.
Well,
Marvin Jones.
He confirmed the report, except for the Marvin Jones part.
Let me go a little bit different at this whole thing, also. All right, because we are very quick, and I thoroughly dislike Urban Meyer and think that he's been a failure in year one. But we're awfully quick to label Marvin Jones some sort of outspoken hero for walking out of the facility like a little kid and having to be coaxed back in
kick him
to go back to work.
Then why are you coaxing him back in? Either kick him out or don't create a situation. He played it down the middle.
But if Urban Meyer did that and said, "Go home, you're kicked off the team," there would be reports written about Urban Meyer being a joke, and that's what you do in college, is you cut a kid's scholarship. And you don't do that with professional athletes. But Marvin Jones also has been a loser throughout his career. Played for Detroit before Jacksonville. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and crown the Jacksonville players as all knowing of how good NFL franchises conduct business, because they are a failure, miserable organization that Urban Meyer has taken over, and he's been a failure also, and he hasn't helped things. But I'm also not going to be so quick to raise my hand and say, good for those Jacksonville players. These guys clearly know how to do business in the NFL, and they know what winning looks like and how things should be done, and they should be speaking up and saying all this. I'm also not going to say Urban Meyer knows how to conduct business in the NFL. It's pretty clear he doesn't. But are we really convinced that Shad Khan is going to admit mistake 1 year in? This is a guy who courted Urban Meyer for a long time, and he got his celebrity coach. He pulled him out of retirement from coaching to be there. I don't know, Hutton, you asked, what is Urban Meyer bringing to the table right now? Are they selling more tickets in Jacksonville? Is he a marketing push for the team? I don't think so.
No, but it's
going to ultimately follow on. It's going to fall on the owner.
The simplest question I would have to ask is Trevor Lawrence improving? And the answer is no. He's not bringing anything to the table for Trevor Lawrence in this. Let's just start there. You can everything else is from the ownership perspective. It sounds like they're treating it as noise, background noise, because they've evaded all of those issues throughout the season, and Urban Meyer remains the head coach. Yesterday, when the report came out from Tom Pelissero talking about Marvin Jones and then calling his coaching staff losers, Jay Glazer, speaking of these Sunday morning shows, spoke to Urban Meyer directly, went on Fox and said, I spoke to Urban Meyer. Tom Pelissero came out with a report this week that he got into it with Marvin Jones. I talked to Urban about that. That part he denies. But there is another part also that he got into it with his assistant coaches, and Urban didn't deny that part. He said, yes, I'm hard on my coaches. I get on them. But he still thinks he has the full support of ownership. That from Jay Glazer. So, Urban Meyer denied the Marvin Jones part of the story from Pelissero that Jones stormed out and that had to be coaxed back in for practice. And then they got into another verbal altercation after that at practice. Meyer denies that part, but then confirms that he stood in front of his coaching staff and called them all losers and asked them to go one by one, go through and give me your coaching resume and your bio and tell me what you've ever done and accomplished in your life.
Well, he denied calling them losers, but didn't deny the rest of it. He did deny. He said that part is untrue.
He denied
when he was asked about being called a loser.
Pre-game with Jay Glazer, Glazer confirmed that part of the story.
Yeah, he confirmed that an altercation happened, but then Urban Meyer said, the part about me calling them losers is untrue. Did not deny everything about give me your resume, tell me what you've done to win, which, let's face it, it's semantics. You're calling your guys losers when you say, verbally stand up now and tell me your resume and what you've done to win throughout your career. It's calling your guys losers.
A summer camp hazing.
So that part of it's true.
From the guy that hired you based on that resume, which he should full well know. Like, does the buck stop with you on anything? And I'll go back to the Marvin Jones. My understanding of Marvin Jones, maybe I'm wrong, is that he's a good pro. Marvin Jones not only played for Detroit, a terrible organization. Before that, he played for Cincinnati, a terrible organization. Marvin Jones knows terrible organizations. So if he's in Jacksonville and he's saying this is terrible, this is beyond the pale, I'm trusting Marvin Jones on that.